Crackdown Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, baby,
to another episode
of Frag Tag Radio.
One of these days we'll come up with something new.
And here with you today are your boys, Pradius
and Jayray, baby.
And Matterafact.
Alright, so doing things a little bit different. Well, first we gotta get that plug out there. Xbox News by Bright AI. Great app, fast loading, zero force closes. Catch it on Android. You can also find us on Stitcher Radio, the podcast app on iOS 6, or the podcast app on Windows 8.
Or holler at us on Twitter at FragTag Radio.
At FragTag
Just
Radio.
do it, dude.
Or on our own website, fragtagradio.com. And, well, with that, moving on, I've got two reviews for you. One was kind of interesting, and then the other one was actually a pretty decent game. So we're going to get the interesting one out of the way. That would be Star Trek, the video game. I don't know if any of you have heard anything about this, but Matt came through, and when we played the entire game co-op, you know, start to finish, it took us, what, 2 or 3 sessions to finish it.
We had to forcefully sit through those sessions, too.
Yeah, there was a couple of parts.
Those movie games, they'll get you every time.
Yeah, well
they don't get me, because I refuse to buy them. But
most movie games suck, but at least they're playable. You know what I mean?
there's very few playable movie games, to be honest.
Come on, man. Toy Story 3? What?
What? Genesis? We're talking about current generation times. There was some old
Toy Story 3 is current generation?
I guess.
Shrek Forever After? Come on now.
Okay, maybe teen child games, but I'm talking about regular, more mature movie games. Like,
Rambo is going to come out and blow you away.
you thought the same thing about the Expendables, and it just broke your heart.
But the Expendables was an arcade game. This is actually full retail.
It's going to break your heart again.
I've got higher...
You're setting yourself up to get your heart broken.
Nothing can break my heart more than that last episode of Game of Thrones, so it doesn't even matter.
Oh, you saw it?
No, but I know what happens.
The Red Wedding. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Whoa, the Red Wedding.
Like a year ago when I was thinking about watching Game of Thrones because people have been telling me it was hot. I didn't start watching until season 2. I went online and found like a summary of all the books and just read the summary.
Why would you do that?
I pretty much know like all the main events that are going to happen.
Why would you do that?
Well, anyway, so as soon as you texted me that night and people were crying on Twitter the next, I already knew what it was.
Why would you do such a horrible thing?
Well, I wanted to know if it was interesting enough to start watching.
So you might want to read the summary of the first book to see if it's interesting enough. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, I can tell you all about what's going to happen.
Please don't. I'll tell you what, man. That was the craziest, best episode. It seems like every season's episode 9 is my new favorite episode.
Dude was betrayed by a pedophile and a lowly bannerman. I mean, come on.
He was really betrayed by the Lannisters. They paid him off to do that. I mean,
he wasn't betrayed. They were never friends with the Lannisters.
Well, they weren't betrayed by the Lannisters, but the Lannisters paid them to betray him.
Yeah, well, and then, of course, you know, the old pedophile guy, he was mad because dude didn't marry one of his daughters.
Spoiler alert, first of all, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Have you seen the outrage on Twitter over that episode?
Just like when...
People claiming they're never going to watch the show again, they're canceling HBO.
People said the same thing when spoiler alert, when Ned Stark died in Season 1. There was an outrage over that.
But see, you hadn't had as much time to grow attached to Ned Stark as you have had.
But if you notice, all the signs were there. And everybody that's read the book already knew.
Yeah.
And there's even a YouTube. You can type in Red Wedding Reaction, and there's thousands of videos of people's reactions while they're watching it. And people are just like, it's funny.
There's a Twitter account, too, called Red Wedding Tears that has been, like, retweeting all the outrage posts over the episode.
It is magnificent.
Some of them are pretty comical.
It's magnificent because if you go back and watch it after you see it, all the signs are there. But they still lure you into a false sense of security, like everything's happy at the wedding, and then all of a sudden, when the music starts playing, like everything's great, everything's happy, and then they take them to do the bedding ceremony to consummate the marriage, and then all of a sudden the door's shut, and there's people playing like music, and then all of a sudden it changes, and they change the song to the Reigns of Castamere, which is the Lannister song, and then Rob's, spoiler alert again, if you have not seen the latest episode of Game of Thrones, you want to stop listening right now, but Rob's mom hears the music and knows what's going on right away, and Rob still doesn't quite get it. And then look, then she sees Rob's right-hand man, Roose Bolton's got chainmail on, so he knows it. And, I mean, he's part of it. And then all of a sudden, somebody just comes up to his wife, his pregnant wife, and stabs her in the fucking stomach like 12 times. And then Rob just oh my God, it's fucking brutal, dude. Whoa. And Arya, the little girl who's been gone forever, had just gotten there, and she was just about to see her family for the first time in 3 years and witnessed all of it.
Yeah, well, I already know what's going to happen with her. She's going to end up... She's going to end up...
Do not say a fucking word about it.
I thought you had read some of the books.
I stopped reading where I'm at. I don't want to know before I read the show.
Oh, it's not a big deal. You can already... If you think about it,
I can't be spoiled on it because I love that show more than anything, man.
Well, you remember like 2 or 3 episodes ago when Arya met the chick with the red hair who follows the god of fire or whatever,
Melisandre.
And she looked at her in her eyes and she was like, "I can see
a
that
darkness in you. Many eyes you will shut forever." Yeah. I have my theories of what's going to happen with her. I have a few theories that she's going to join the Faceless Men,
right,
with Jaqen H'ghar. But I still don't want to know. I don't want to know anything. But I have my
your theory's spot on, motherfucker. But yeah, all right. So anyway. On to the games. All right, so Star Trek. It actually starts out pretty promising.
It does.
The first level or two, not that bad.
No, takes your hand through it.
The voice acting was top-notch.
It was.
It's got all the original voice actors from the movie.
And sound effects.
Which is a rarity in video games made after movies these days.
It's the only thing that carried the game.
Yeah, well, that, and then the story was actually pretty decent.
It was. It wasn't too bad.
Graphically, it wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't bad either.
No.
It was average. The settings, they were all very Star Trek, though.
They were.
The bridge of the Enterprise, in particular, looked really good.
That did. It took a lot of detail into that.
Yeah.
You could tell. Because other parts of the ship were pretty bland.
So the whole game is about you and Spock going on a away mission to meet this other Vulcan chick who's working on this thing to help the Vulcans relocate to the new Vulcan planet.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, things aren't going well.
Never are.
The Gorn show up. All hell breaks loose from there. Gorn, bad guys.
Bad guys.
Giant lizards.
Giant lizards. Not what I was. If you watch the original Star Trek, you see the Gorn.
Yeah.
And it's not what I was imagining at all. But I guess they had to, update it, of course.
With the new movies, they've changed the look of a lot of the species. Like,
that's true.
The new Klingons don't look like the Klingons from like Deep Space Nine and Next Generation, which I was actually kind of upset about.
Really?
Because I was like, if anything, should have stayed the same.
Was that in the second movie?
It's the way the Klingons look. Because I mean, I thought they had already nailed, you know, the way the Klingons looked. It looked great in the TV shows from years back.
Yeah.
They didn't really need to update that or change it.
They never really did either. Throughout all the episodes,
they did in the new movie.
Oh, sure.
Anyways,
but yeah, I mean, the graphics weren't bad. They were choppy. The voice acting was good, like we talked about, but the facial animations for when they talk, especially Bones, I don't know what was going on with that dude, but
yeah,
Robot City, like, so stiff.
Yeah.
And some of the dialogue, of course, was cheesy.
Some of it was kind of funny too.
It was, but I don't think they intended for that.
Well, especially the dialogue between Spock and Kirk.
Yeah.
They had the best dialogue, like the secondary dialogue with the chick, the Vulcan chick.
Yeah, it was all kind of...
And the other people, that was all definitely cheesy.
Yeah. But other than that,
So, glitches galore.
All over the place.
Like, you would hit the button to climb a ladder, and your body would be like halfway inside the ladder while you were climbing up the ladder.
There's one part of the game where there was one part where in one spot, I remember we both hit it, where if your character stood there, you literally couldn't move.
Yeah.
You had to wait like 5 minutes or so and jostle the controls around.
It was
bad.
That one level where we were like out in space with the teleporting gun and we had to keep teleporting each other to different pads.
That's one thing. That game was not clear on its objectives.
Yeah.
Like what you had
the
to
waypoints, they were not there.
No.
The radar was the HUD. The whole HUD interface needed a giant facelift. The swimming.
Oh.
We can't go through the review without mentioning that. That had to have been the worst part of the whole game.
It was horrible.
There's one level in particular that centers around swimming.
It was the longest level. It took us like, what, 8 tries?
Or more.
Yeah.
Or more.
Easily.
Because it's like you have to come up for air every so often.
Yeah.
But there's no dive button.
No.
So in order to get back down into the water, you have to like swim against the wall and have the wall slowly carry you back down.
Push yourself down.
Yeah, back down into the water. So it was. All that said, I'm thinking I'm going to give the game a 2.75, 3 frag-ish area.
Yeah. Generous.
Yeah. and Matt, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna give it 2.
Two solid.
It's lucky you got that.
But
mostly just because of the voice acting.
With that, if you are a Trekkie, a hardcore Star Trek fan, I would say it is probably worth a rental.
A rental, or at least when it gets in the bargain bin.
Yeah.
Like $5.
Yeah, and it's worth it just for the story.
Yeah, I mean, if you can sit through the whole game and enjoy the story, by all means do it. But it's going to be a frustrating session.
If you're not a hardcore Star Trek fan, I would say don't even bother.
Steer clear.
Yeah, don't even bother.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you have it. Solid 2.75. That averages out to about 2.5.
Yeah.
Ish. 2.33. Anyway, so next Metro Last Light. I'm gonna go ahead and let Jayray start it off.
It was pretty good. I'm still not finished with it, but
pretty good ways through.
Yeah, it's a good game. The only real complaint I have with it is the voice acting of it, which is because they use all Ukrainian actors that don't speak English very well, and while they're trying to do a game in English, it sounds
rough.
Not quite right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you feel like they're struggling to speak English. So I don't know. It just seems very choppy. Game would probably sound a whole lot better if you heard it in its native language in Ukrainian. But that's the only complaint that I have with it. I mean, it's a good game. There's the graphics are okay. Graphics are okay. They're not great. But they're not bad. They're decent.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't have any further complaints about it. Gunplay is pretty good. Sounds pretty good other than the voice acting. It's a pretty well-paced campaign. You got slow segments when you're in little towns or whatever, and then you got more fast-paced segments. It's definitely a more difficult game for a shooter. It's not an easy game. It's not overly difficult, but it's challenging at times.
And you don't have to play like guns blazing, balls to the wall.
Yeah, you can play you can sneak.
You can try and go stealthily.
Yeah, it's
for every mission.
It's hard to go stealth. Some of them, I pretty much just went guns blazing because I've tried a few going through stealth and I've been successful. But some of the later ones, it's almost impossible to go through stealth unless you really know what you're doing. And I just have decided that I want to just kill everything. So.
Well, and this was your first Metro. You didn't play the first one.
Well, correct. I didn't play the first one.
So,
but I like it. I thought it was a good game so far. Like I said, I got a little bit ways to go, but without seeing the ending, it's hard to give it a grade. But I'd have to go probably a 3.5. That's 3.5, 3.75. I'm right in that area. If it has a really good ending and I like the ending, I guess I could bump it up possibly to a 4. But for right now, I'm gonna stick with a 3.5.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about 4 frags for me for Metro. It could have been higher if there had been some kind of a co-op mode or something, even some sort of like incentive to make me want to play the game again. But there's no like real New Game Plus type of deal. So it's like once you beat it, there's no real reason to play the game again. I will say the season pass for it is cheap. It's like 1,200 points, and you're going to get 4 DLCs. One of them is going to be some sort of a level editor where you can make your own levels type of deal. It sounds pretty cool. Now, I will note that I personally didn't have a problem with the voice acting. I didn't think it was Academy Award winning or anything, but I didn't think it was horrible either. I was somewhere in the middle. Also, having played Metro 2033, I already knew what I was getting into. So I was right at home from the very beginning of the game. It's actually very much like the first game. The main improvements I saw were the stealth was a lot better in this game than it was in the first one. The gunplay was about the same, although the guns were a lot cooler. The guns, they actually looked like makeshift guns that you would have made out of like scraps of random stuff found down in the Metro.
Videos, yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. The story is actually pretty decent for a first-person shooter. Most first-person shooters, you play them, you finish the game, and you don't even remember the story. Whereas I actually remember RTM's story and his struggle going through, and when he got captured, and with the chick that he ends up. And then I won't give away the ending, but the ending ties the whole thing together, and it's actually a pretty cool ending. But yeah, with that, 4 frags and Metro Last Light. We'll take it into the news. First of all, I wanted to put the conference schedules out there. June 10th is the big day. You got Microsoft starting at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
And that's Pacific time. And then Electronic Arts from 1 in the afternoon to 2 p.m.
So Eastern time, 9 a.m. is what, 10, 11, 12? That's 1 o'clock.
Yeah. I think it's 12:30 is when it starts. It showed on the Xbox dashboard when I looked earlier. So if you're on the East Coast, like around noon, 12:30, they'll probably have a pre-show. So I would say start checking in at noon.
I was going to take off work for it, but I've decided forget that because I'm just going to be able to rewatch the conference as soon as I get home.
Yeah.
From the dashboard.
Yeah, so there's no reason to really do that. And all the other ones will come on after I've already gotten off work. So.
Okay, and then so after that's Electronic Arts from 1 p.m. To 2 p.m. Pacific time. And then Ubisoft from 3 to 4. And then Sony later on that night, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So here on the East Coast, the Sony jank ain't going to start till late, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
9 at night.
Yeah, it's going to be late.
And then Nintendo's is the next day on Tuesday at 7 in the morning Pacific time, which will be like around 10 a.m. here.
Yeah.
Boom. All right. And then the next thing I put up here is clearing up some misconceptions. Me and Jayray had a good little conversation about this. Like, what is the difference between GDDR5 and DDR3? After scouring around, I got the best information I could, put it together into this one little thing. So, is GDDR5 superior to DDR3? The answer is yes and no. This is a pretty common misconception, which is probably why MS chose not to bring it up at the Xbox reveal. GDDR5 is GDDR3 modified to offer better performance in GPU-bound operations at the cost of poor performance in CPU-bound operations. It sacrifices latency for bandwidth. That's the problem with GDDR5. The problem with DDR3...
From GDDR3.
That's the problem with GDDR5. It sacrifices latency for bandwidth.
Right, from GDDR3.
DDR3 is the opposite. It sacrifices bandwidth for less latency.
So you got to remember, they're comparing GDDR5 to GDDR3. DDR3 is what the Xbox One runs.
That's a typo by me. I was because I typed all this up.
I just read what you put on there. It depends. I've scoured the internet too, and it depends on who you read, what you read. Because if you go to Yahoo and look at Andan Techs, they seem to think it's a huge deal, and then you look at other sites and they seem to think it's not. So it really just seems to depend on where you read.
Well, I'm sure Sony fans everywhere probably think it's a huge deal.
But Yahoo is Yahoo,
and a Sony fan probably answered that question. Anyways,
just like a Microsoft fan
moving
probably
on.
answered this question.
Xbox
you know
One.
what I mean? It's.
But see, I didn't take my answers from forums or Yahoo Answers or any of that bullshit you're talking about.
It wasn't Yahoo Answers. It's Andan Tech, which is a tech company.
Whatever you say. I actually went and found articles.
So did I.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to take it from
Here's
here.
my point. A Sony fan is always going to say GDDR5 is better, and a Microsoft fan is always going to say DDR3 is better. It doesn't matter.
I'm not saying DDR3 is better.
I didn't say you did. I'm just saying that's what's always going to happen.
This is going to boil down.
They're going to say a Microsoft fan is going to say DDR3 is just the same thing, and a PlayStation fan is always going to say GDDR5 is better. It's going to be this is going to happen throughout the next generation. So
that's why the answer to the question is yes and no. All right, so Xbox One versus PS4 from a hardware standpoint. Why does everyone insist that GDDR5 is fundamentally better than DDR3? DDR3 is better suited for CPU calculations, GDDR5 for graphics rendering. It's indicative of Microsoft's betting on the next gen, relying on a more advanced AI and persistent worlds, plus higher levels of interactivity, versus Sony focusing more on raw graphics capability. Also, having seen that the GPU has its own blazing fast dedicated RAM spec-wise, which is the L1 catch and the DMEs, Xbox One will be on level or even superior in some cases to the PS4, depending on what the developer is going for operations wise. The Xbox RAM will have 8 gig. PlayStation's also have an 8 gig. So the difference here is GDDR5 versus DDR3. All right, so why? A computer doesn't need a large pool of GDDR5 memory to perform at a high level. The only reason Sony went with one unified pool of GDDR5 is that they have CPU and GPU in the same package, which share a single memory controller. The problem with using all DDR3 is that your GPU needs faster memory to do its work. Sony solved this problem by just going with GDDR5. Basically, the 8 gig of GDDR5 was another Sony costly decision that will not translate into another additional 4 gig of graphics performance enhancement, owing to the fact that a single memory controller limited the memory to only one type. That was necessary to increase the RAM pool for those extra OS functions like Netflix and the other things that they want to have on the PlayStation 4 besides games. MS, on the other hand, went for a smarter, more efficient solution by using the more economical 8 gig of DDR3 RAM and solved the problem of matching up with the PS4 by adding in DMEs and an L4 cache, which acts as more like an HOV lane for graphics rendering and information. It transfers a lot faster than your average DDR3 would. So that helps it there. Now, at the end of here, I added in a little section on Kinect. Is Kinect a problem? A lot of people, especially hardcore gamers, don't like Kinect at all, and some of them are upset that that it's coming bundled with the new console.
Yeah.
Is Kinect a problem? To me, no. Which is why even games designed totally for Kinect, like RYSE, will still use a controller and work with the Kinect. I think the amount of Kinect-only games we're going to see this next generation are going to be minimal to none. And I think the Kinect-only games are going to be like kids games, family games.
Like what they have now.
Your hardcore games that have Kinect aren't going to be Kinect-only. They're going to be married with the new...
There's very few now.
Yeah, with the new Xbox 360 controller.
That's pretty much how it already is now. Because they tried a couple hardcore games. They didn't work.
Yeah.
Now that's all you pretty much see. Is
the only one that was anywhere near decent was Fable the Journey. So, all right, moving on. Microsoft says no TV talk at E3. Sony fans all over the internet have been making memes and animated GIFs about TV. Like that's the only thing the Xbox One is going to do. There's been a lot of
Xbox fans
saying the same thing.
Saying the same
people
thing.
disguising themselves as Xbox fans.
People disguising.
Yes.
I don't know. If you look at a lot of the on IGN, what's his face, the head Xbox guy there,
Ryan McAfee.
No, he's one of them, not the head. I think he might be. No, it's gosh, what's his name? The blonde hair guy, the one that went to the event. Maybe
Scott Lowe.
The one that actually went to the event. He's that got invited to the Microsoft thing. He's been really bashing them too. I think it's smart that they're going with the TV options because they can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as they don't forget about the gamer, I think they're smart to do that. Because they've done a good job with that stuff, so they can go both ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
so they've been catching a lot of flack over covering a lot of TV stuff at the reveal event. So Larry Herr, Major Nelson have tweeted out, "I could confirm that we will have TVs on stage at the E3 show." And that should be the extent of our TV showing at E3. So they're not going to talk about TV at all. They'll have TVs on stage to show off the games, and
I didn't think they would.
That'll be it.
They've heard all the talk and stuff too. They know better than to do that.
All right, so and then another thing that a lot of people have been worried about with the Xbox One was they didn't really outline any plan for indie developers.
Yeah.
And then an article came out saying the indie developers are still going to need a publisher to go on, and that it's going to be so much easier to get your game on Wii U or PS4 or computer because you don't need a publisher. Well, that's actually the old policy on 360. They just haven't updated it yet. So, Don Matrick has come out and told Kotaku that Microsoft will pursue other angles to make Xbox One an attractive platform for indies. We're going to have an independent developer creator program. We're going to sponsor it. We're going to give people tools. We're going to give more information soon. Hopefully, that means E3.
They just won't, but it says they won't let them self-publish games to its online marketplace. That's why everybody was in an uproar, because they're
Right,
not self-publishing.
That's the current policy. I'm guessing that Microsoft is gonna be offering, to publish themselves most of those games, because it does in the digital market. It doesn't really matter who publishes your game.
It doesn't. They just the difference is that it just more hoops to jump through. That's the only difference. I think that's why indie developers were all up in a uproars, because they don't want to have to jump through the hoops.
Right.
So as long as they make it easy and accessible, it shouldn't make too much of a difference.
All right. So Don Matrick has confirmed. Actually, Don Matrick, the way he got started in the industry was he was the head of a studio, that independent developer, and then rose up, and now he's head of Xbox at Microsoft. So he knows how the independent developers feel, and they've got a plan, a program in the works that they'll be providing more information on soon. And Aaron Greenberg has said pretty much the same thing in another interview that I saw. All right, so moving on. Mad Catz is developing accessories for Xbox One. I'm pretty sure everybody saw that coming.
Yeah, they've been around, forever now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just about.
I know Turtle Beach is already going to be able to make headsets for it, which we knew was going to come.
Turtle Beach is also recently announced. So you can.
By the way, I don't know if you guys said this, or no, I was here for the last show. You cannot use your old Turtle Beaches. If you have a pair of any Turtle Beaches, you're going to have to trade those puppies in
and get a new pair.
And the problem is, you take them to GameStop, and they're either going to give you wireless headset or wired headset. So you're going to get like $5 for your $250 headset.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just keep mine and then just go buy one for the Xbox One.
Yeah, I just wish they could be used for the that's why they're doing that, and Turtle Beach will make a lot of money off of it.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure they're happy about it.
Kind of bullshit though.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if they have like a certain reasoning that they're trying to say that is the reason they can't do it.
I'm sure they do, but the real reasoning is so Turtle Beach can get that money. And Xbox and Turtle Beach right now got some slick partnership where they're like, all right, well, we're going to make it so you can't use the old headsets, and now everybody's going to buy your headsets and a bunch of new ones, so we're going to have to get a cut of that.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on down the list. Xbox One will let you play games immediately during installs. So you put the disc in, it'll start installing, and you start playing immediately while it's installing. We pretty much figured that. I mean, both consoles are going to do that. You can also suspend and resume games at any time, instantly, and move between things. But they pretty much showed some of that off during the reveal.
Yeah, that's all pretty much.
Xbox One can update achievements in response to player behavior. Now, we sort of touched on this a little bit the last show. So. The exploitate, Microsoft is keen to distance itself. So yeah, they're going to be able to update achievements. The developers will be able to, based on player behavior. If they see that a lot of players are doing this or that, then they can add an achievement for this or that. Or if they see a lot of players aren't doing something that they'd like players to be doing, then they can add an achievement for that to try and entice players to go and be like, hey, go check this out, get yourself an achievement.
Two of the biggest questions I'm looking for to be answered about the Xbox One at E3 are how much external hard drive memory can you have? Are they going to limit it like they did with the Xbox 360 with just 16 or 32 gigs? Yeah. And how much does the operating system take up of that 500 gig? Because these next-gen games are going to be big. And if they're automatically installing every single game I put in, it is going to take up massive space quick. And 500 sounds like a lot, but when you're installing every single next-gen game, we're not talking about current-gen.
Well, now, from what I understand, if you have a good internet connection and you're not worried about all that, you can install your games to the cloud, too. Okay. Because I was reading an interview with Aaron Greenberg, and he was saying, if you install your games to the cloud, then when you go to a friend's house, you don't even got to bring disc with you or whatever. You just sign into your profile and you'll have your whole game collection.
That's fine too, but are they going to do just like they do now and limit how much cloud storage you have? They're going to have to do that, or people are going to take advantage of that. Because I know right now you only get what 4 gig or 8 gigs or something like that.
Well, right now you can't install games to the cloud.
Right, you can't. But I'm just saying they're going to have to cap how much hard drive space you have on your cloud too, or else they're going to have to do that. Yeah. So how many games? Eventually for people like me and you, hard drive space is going to become a issue. I feel like, and if you look, if you look on if you turn on your Xbox and you see on your dashboard right now, up on the right, and you hit Xbox One, and it brings you that screen where you can go how it works, what to do, entertainment. If you look down at the very bottom, it says, and this is a direct quote because I read it online and then I went and checked it myself. It says, you will have it says the word significantly less than 500 gigabytes due to the Windows dashboard. Now, it doesn't say how much, but me and P were speculating how much it could be.
500.
Windows 8. Windows 8 takes up about 13 gigs, so I imagine it couldn't be any more than that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But didn't they say something like 3 different operating systems? Or they said a middle one, and then one on each. It was like they showed the 3 layers. Boom, boom, boom. And they said they all work in unified tandem. Yeah, yeah. So it could potentially be more than Windows 8. True, you know what I mean?
I would say 20 would be the max.
Yeah, I don't think I would mind 20 too much, but if it's up to around 40, 45, 50, even more than that, I'm going to be pissed.
I would say there's a 0.001% chance of it being 40, 45.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would, and I just did.
I mean, drop the line. We're talking about a console. I mean, this is, if it's 3 of them. Think about it. You just times 13 by 3. You're at 39.
Right.
So I mean, that's all speculation as far as how much it'll take on our part. I don't think I would mind 20 too much. I still think that's a lot. But I think I could handle that.
20 out of 500 ain't a big deal.
No, I think I could handle that. But, I just thought it was interesting that they said significantly on there. It kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, oh.
So they point that out.
Well, they caught a lot of flack over the Surface RT in particular because the operating system took up so much space and they didn't say, significantly more. And so I guess, they're just trying to cover themselves this time with the Xbox.
Also, this is just another small thing. If you read that last article we said, it says, Microsoft told our friends at Engadget that Xbox One 50 gigabyte Blu-ray discs automatically rip to the system's 500 gig memory. Now, we know not every game is going to use all 50 gigs of the disc. We know that. But there are going to be games that are coming close to using that. So we could potentially be talking anywhere from...
Especially as the generation goes on.
Yeah, later in the generation.
As the generation starts and we see these cross-platform games like Call of Duty Ghosts being on old and new-gen consoles.
You're probably not going to have that much of an issue with that.
Yeah.
But still, hard drive space isn't going to be an issue in the first year, probably. Because
maybe even the first couple of years, since I'm sure Sony's going to continue supporting the PS3 for a while to come, just like they did with the PS2. Yeah. And Microsoft has said they're going to support the 360 for at least another 5 years.
But you figure 50 gigs is possible. Let's play it safe and say, most games on next gen are going to be about half that to start
25.
With. 25. Yeah. Okay, if you're talking about 25 gigs a game, what? You got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 games would fill up your 500 right there. You subtract, and I know, like, P's, how many games you got on your Xbox right now? I mean, probably countless.
Arcade games, I have 203.
Just games in general. Retail and just arcade, you have 203.
Yeah.
And that's not even accounting the retail.
Retail games, I can only keep like 5 or 6 installed at a time because I'm hovering around 10 gigs of free space at all times.
So anyway, that's 2 of the big questions I'm wondering about.
Every time I install something, I have to delete something.
I hope, and I've got my fingers crossed about it, but I almost know the answer already because I know Microsoft. But I would love to be able to take my terabyte external hard drive, plug it in, and have another terabyte. I just don't see it.
I think you're going to be able to do that because if they were going to limit it to 16, 32, they would have just stuck with the USB flash drives. They wouldn't have said you can plug in an external hard drive.
Yeah.
You can plug in an external hard drive on this one too. It just chops it up.
Right, but they didn't advertise external hard drives. They advertised the memory sticks on 360.
Well, I hope so because you can do that on PlayStation 3 already, and it makes a big difference. You know what I mean? And I really hope they do go that route. Even if they say, hey, you have to buy a Microsoft external hard drive to do it, I'll still do that. Okay, I hate it. I'll hate it, but I'll get it because they want to make sure they make the money and not Seagate or whoever makes your external hard drive.
Yeah.
But if they, so even if they go that route, I'll take it because I'll go out and buy another 500 or terabyte external hard drive from Microsoft and I'll do it. I'll give them my money. But
so next on the list is something that's actually everyone's been looking for a while, or a lot of people have. Yeah. They're moving the friends up to, you can have up to 1,000 friends on Xbox One, which is great news for people like me, and maybe Jayray too. I don't know how many friends you have.
I've got about 91.
Yeah, I every time someone wants to add me, I've got to delete somebody.
Most of mine now are Fragtag Radio fans that send me random friend requests, and I don't talk to them. I just they just sit there and you know, I guess they want to add me just because of the show or whatever, and they never contact me or anything really. So
and that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it. You know, it's cool. I'm just saying that's what most of mine are.
Yeah.
You know, and so if it's, you know, I know I won't get at 1,000 friends, not anytime soon.
No.
So it's not too big of an issue, but I am glad it's more than 100.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. So now this has been a big thing. When right after the conference, somebody from Microsoft said that it was going to have to be online once a day, and websites, news places everywhere took that and they took off with it. It was all over the internet. So after that, Phil Harrison had to come in and clear that up. He was talking to Wired. And Wired said, I've heard if your Xbox One does not connect with Xbox Live at least once a day, the machine becomes inoperable and you're not able to play any of the games you've paid for. Is that true? Harrison said, I don't think that's what was said, but let me try and clarify what is happening. So there's a lot of anxiety about what if my internet goes down and you don't have connectivity for a period of time. There are a host of features which will be usable without an internet connection. Watching movies, playing certain single-player games, all of which will operate offline. We expect most of the more advanced experiences, like online multiplayer games or games which have a lot of connected features, those games obviously won't connect if you don't have an internet connection.
How are you going to watch movies?
That's what I don't get.
If you have them if you have them downloaded.
Yeah, most people don't do that though.
Or Blu-rays.
Oh yeah, I guess. Okay, well, I would hope so.
We designed the system to take advantage of a connection to the cloud and all that means, but no, it's not required that you are connected all the time or every second of the day. There is some technology about how often or how frequently the device has to ping, but that has not been. We have not talked publicly about that yet, but it will be very user-friendly. So they still haven't pinged down exactly.
The question.
But they have said that it's not going to be once a day. So, and I think it was Kotaku or somebody like that came out and said, what period of time would be acceptable to you? Some people came out and said a week would be acceptable. Some people came out and said a month would be acceptable. Other people just straight up said NA, non-applicable. They don't want any period of time.
Let me just clarify. I don't give a damn. So let's shut the hell up about it and move on. All right, and if you give a damn,
we don't care because
shut the hell up.
We have great internet connections, great internet service with Cox.
I am so damn tired of hearing about this always online crap. It makes me sick.
A lot of people, you know, like people in rural areas or out in the boonies, you know, don't have the greatest internet connection, or especially military people who are on base and maybe aren't allowed to have internet in certain areas.
Then buy a PS4.
Or if you're in the Navy and you're out at sea or whatever, you don't got no internet on your ship. You know, whatever.
Buy a Wii U. I mean, God, just I am so
stick with 360.
Sorry, I am just sick of it, man. Every time I get on my news feed, it's 16,000 articles about always online, and it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, I've gotten pretty tired of it myself, but I thought that we should touch on it anyway because it's obviously a big concern to some people.
Yeah, military people, man. Like, I get it. Shut the hell up about it.
And there it is.
And wait until you hear something more. That's all I got to say.
All right, well, hopefully we'll get some straight answers at E3.
And if we don't...
If not, the bad press continues.
Yeah, it'll keep going.
Then I might stop recording for
a while. All right, and here's something, me and Matt were talking about this yesterday, that...
Achievements for watching TV.
I think that's pretty gay.
Yeah, I think it's great because I would have a boatload of achievements right now because as much HBO Go and MLB TV that I
think if that's true, if they do that, it diminishes the the meaning of the achievement.
It just shows Microsoft's strategy, and they want people to buy it for entertainment. And you know they're gonna say, "Oh, this guy plays it for games. He bought an Xbox and plays it for games. I bought an Xbox to watch movies. How come he gets achievements and I don't? You turn on my Xbox and it looks like I've never used it, and you turn on yours and it looks like you've used it for 3 years, but I've had mine for 5.
Yeah.
Well, you've been watching Netflix the whole 5. Suck it and put a game in your shit.
Yeah, well, that's Microsoft's strategy right there. That sums it up.
Well, this is only a patent. They haven't confirmed that it's going to happen or anything.
It's going to happen. Guarantee it.
Well, I
thought about that last year.
The only way I would be okay with it is if they did it sort of like how they did with Xbox Live Labs and a couple of other things they've done on 360, where you get achievements, but they're not worth anything. They're 0 G.
They're just there.
Now, I would even be okay with maybe 5G or like very small.
I'm sure thwill be small.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, think about it. If you get a 100 gamer score for watching a movie, that movie is going. I'll watch it. You know, I will clear my Netflix out, dude. I will watch. I'll be coming in here talking about.
I'm gonna go to sleep and press play and have a movie watching marathon. And not watch
I'll be coming in here like, yo, you seen that movie Ryan and the Tickle Tummy? Trust me, it's a good movie, man. Y'all be like, what the hell? The Tickle Tummy? I got a 100 gamer score, dog. Don't hate.
All right, so another thing that a lot of people were worried about over in the UK after the Xbox One announcement, football, NFL don't mean nothing to us over here. A lot of the cool features won't be available in the UK. Well,
I hear they're crying.
They've already said that they're pretty much already partnered up with Sky TV and BT. Which is another cable provider over there, is actively seeking a partnership with Microsoft for Xbox One. I'm guessing Microsoft's going to take them up on their offer.
ESPN owns BT. The problem with BT is they don't have much rights to soccer games over there. Sky Sports has almost all the rights.
Right.
So Microsoft is probably saying, all right, hold on. We don't want a partnership with you. We want to partner up with Sky Sports. Because if that's what the people want, it is what the people want. They want soccer games.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's probably why we haven't heard nothing from that yet. No wonder they're actively looking. They probably want their network to blow up over there. But no, I feel it. And you know what pisses me off is all the damn cool stuff. I like soccer. I like European soccer a lot. But I can't even download Sky Sports TV on my phone because I don't live in the UK, and that blows. Yeah, I get Fox Soccer, but that blows. So whatever they get, I want.
Right. Well, hopefully they'll be bringing that to the US.
They won't.
No, yeah. Well, demand's not that high for it over here. Just like demand for NFL isn't that high over there.
Yeah. Jayray wants it, and that's all that matters!
Well, hopefully they'll make it just for you.
Yeah. Highly doubtful.
All right, so next on the list, Xbox One to feature remote play. This is something that Sony showed off during their conference. If you're having trouble with that boss, and your buddy, he's beaten that boss 2 or 3 times, you can just have him take over for you, and he can get that achievement for you.
This sounds really cool, and I thought when Sony said it, it sounds really cool. My only thing about this is, I don't know, they say through Skype. That's going to be weird, man. I don't know how that will quite work.
Well, they're expanding Skype into a much more service.
I know. They're using the technology.
I don't know if I put this in here, but party chat, private chat, all that stuff on Xbox One, it's going to be Skype. Skype is handling party chat.
Yeah, I know. It's their technology that's using everything. To me, is this going to be available right away? You know, or is this just a Me Too type thing where they saw Sony can do it and they're like, oh yeah, well we're going to be able to do that too. You know what I mean? So
much as I love Microsoft, I think it's probably more of a Me Too type thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it will happen at some point. I just don't. I think it might have been, oh, that's a cool feature Sony has. We need to have that too. And then they started working on it. Right. You know, so it might not be ready at launch, but who knows?
It'll be there eventually. Yeah. And me personally, I won't be calling up Jayray to take over my game for me. I'll just handle it myself.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'll ever use that feature on PlayStation 4. You know, I doubt. I can't see many scenarios where I would.
You know,
because if I'm struggling with a boss, I have too much pride to let somebody take over my game.
Me too, but you know, there are gamers out there who get so frustrated that they don't even want to play the game. And we know a couple like that. You know, we're not even going to name any names, but we know 1 or 2 like that.
Well, I can tell you, there's one time in my video game history where I might have done that, and that was Final Fantasy 13-2. 2. Do you remember that boss when I called you and you were like, you're still fighting him? And it had been like 7 hours, dude. Damn. 7 hours.
Wow.
It's a long boss fight.
Apparently.
I never died. I just couldn't beat him. I could stay alive. I know. I was getting so. I was like, what is going on here? I might have let you take over that one, but that might have been it. Anyway.
All right. So, and then another big thing people are worried about. Microsoft's just gonna lean on Gears and Halo again for the next gen. They ain't got no other games planned. Well, even though they said before the Xbox reveal that the reveal was going to be about the hardware and E3 was going to be about the games, evidently no one heard that.
Or they just didn't want to pay attention.
Yeah,
nobody wanted that. That's what it was.
They just didn't want to pay attention. Well, they've come out. They've said E3 is going to be all about games. Major Nelson was on a Yahoo chat, letting people ask him questions. What's going to be the focus of E3? And he just typed games. And
let me get more depth in that. It needs to be first party games.
It is.
I know, but it needs to be that. It can't. They can't come out and say, "Oh, Call of Duty Ghosts."
Here's Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Yeah,
check it out on remote.
Yeah. Oh, Watch List. They cannot. Or Watch Dogs. They can't do that. It has to be first party. It pisses me off when both companies do that. When Microsoft, they're already. Sony's going to have Destiny at their press conference, and I hate that because
there's been a lot of rumors flying around this past week regarding games and exclusive content, and one of those is that Microsoft has signed a deal to get some exclusive content for their copy of Destiny as well. So it's possible we could see something about that during their conference, but we'll get more into the games in a second.
In general that Bungie seems to be backing PlayStation more anyway when they've grown up on Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're turning their back.
It's not up to them. It's up to the publisher.
Activision. Yeah.
And I'm guessing...
But Activision's always been...
Sony probably came to Activision and said, look, here's a couple million. Let's make it happen with Destiny. And Activision saw it. Damn. All right.
That's money.
We got you.
Activision's traditionally been a Microsoft... They've been both companies, but they've always given Microsoft their exclusive content first.
Well, and they're still doing that with Call of Duty?
Yeah. And Ubisoft's traditionally been the other way. You know what I mean? It's kind of been that way. It's just... It's a little different,
Yeah. Well, it all depends on who offers up the money first.
That's true. That's very true.
So the point of this article is Microsoft's come out and said they have invested $1 billion
in the new Gears of War.
$1 billion in new first-party games for the Xbox One.
16 Gears of Wars.
God.
No. And about 7 Halos. But
no, but I think they've learned their lesson, was the biggest.
They've said 15 exclusives, 8 of them brand new IPs.
Yeah.
We've only seen one of those brand new IPs, which is Quantum Break, which is going to be great. It's Remedy.
And like I said, I think they've learned their lesson. The biggest gripe on 360 all along was the first party software, and I think they've learned their lesson.
And when 360 first came out, it was great with the first party software. They had RPGs like Lost Odyssey, Magna Carta 2, Star Ocean was exclusive for over a year before.
Were those second party though? Those were second party, weren't they? Well, because they were exclusive to Microsoft, but Microsoft didn't own those companies.
Right? Yeah, they were.
Okay, so they were, but still, second party's fine. You know what I mean? Exclusives is what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. The first BioShock was exclusive when it first came out. Metro 2033 was. It seems Mass Effect. The first Mass Effect was exclusive to 360 for the longest time.
Along the line, they lost their way,
and it still would have been if Electronic Arts hadn't bought out BioWare.
Yeah, that's
true. So
that's true.
It all depends. But now Electronic Arts and Microsoft have gotten very buddy buddy recently. So I think we're gonna see a lot more exclusive content in the way of Electronic Arts game for Microsoft.
It's just so hard to get a AAA third party title exclusive on your console because those third party developers. No, they're not going to make as much money if they make it exclusively to your console.
If you want it, you've got to be willing to pony up a few million.
More than a few million. A lot more.
I mean, I'm sure Epic, Microsoft, every time Microsoft's ready for a new Gears of War, they probably just get the armored truck loaded down with cash, back it up to Epic's front door,
I would think that and
say, hey, we're going to start unloading cash. Let us know when it's enough to make another Gears.
Well, yeah, either that or at the initial beginning, they had the exclusive rights to any Gears of War game and paid for it all up front, which I'm sure Epic probably right now is waiting for that exclusivity deal to run out so they can make it on other consoles.
That ran out after Gears of War 2. They had
and then they threw a whole nother mound of cash at them for another deal.
Right. And I'm pretty sure they're going to continue to, because Gears is one of their biggest franchises.
It's known as Microsoft.
Yeah, you can't. I mean,
all right.
I find it hard to believe that Gears would ever be multi-platform.
Yeah.
If they did, that'd be a major mistake by Microsoft because they're known for Gears.
Yeah.
Now another thing people were all worried about, and people were worried about this for PlayStation 4 too, about the whole DRM, activation fees for used games. Sony fans even took to Twitter and started tweeting to Sony over and over, with the hashtag no PS4 DRM or whatever the hell. So Microsoft has come and said there will be no reactivation fee for used games. Once you buy the game from GameStop, you're good to go.
They still haven't clarified renting games,
right? So people like GameFly could be in trouble.
Yeah, that's the. It's good that we can still buy the used games, but there are going to be a group of people, or I should say, companies that could lose a lot of money on this. GameFly being one of them, Redbox being another. Yep. You know, those companies are Blockbuster Online.
And I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I've seen a lot more GameFly commercials lately. Like they've been upping their advertising.
Probably because they're losing a lot of customers, because every time you want a game, you get the 17th one on your queue list.
Yeah. Well, another good thing is Electronic Arts recently got rid of their online pass, and they've taken it out of games like Mass Effect and Kingdoms of Amalur. They've taken it out of all those, so you don't even need that, and you can buy those games used now without having to worry about paying EA an extra $10 for the online pass.
All right, so moving on. Multiple account support is indeed included in Xbox
Now,
One.
this is really cool. You can set up one account, and you can have 3 or 4 more accounts under that account. So I won't have to pay for my gold subscription, Solomon's gold subscription, and Kayla's gold subscription anymore. I can just put their accounts under mine.
Yep, that is good. That's
which is great.
Also, your accounts will tie between 360 and Xbox One. You won't need 2 accounts for the system, so we've already talked about that.
Which makes sense. I mean, if you're going to be able to carry over your gamer score and all that.
Bring that over.
And I'm guessing they're going to be updating 360 with the new Skype chat for the cross-platform chat and all that. They've already been talking about that. That's pretty much going to be a given, I think. I was listening to Gamertag Radio. They were interviewing Aaron Greenberg, and he said that the whole NFL deal that they've got for the Xbox One will be available on 360 as well. It's just not going to be as cool on the 360.
I've already got an idea of what this is, too. I've been doing a lot of research on this, and it sounds like you're going to be... Right now, you can get NFL Sunday Ticket online, strictly online. If you don't have DirecTV, you can't get it. Well, they're going to make it accessible for Xbox 360. Well, you're going to be able to watch it now. It's going to ask you if you have DirecTV or if you can get DirecTV. As long as you say no, you're going to be able to purchase Sunday Ticket through Xbox, which is great. And it's going to, I don't know. Oh,
they paid them $400 million for this thing.
Also, if you buy the Madden Anniversary Edition for $99, you get 1 year subscription to NFL Sunday Ticket, which is a $100 value itself.
Oh.
I'm sure you're going to hop on that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we already have Sunday Ticket on DirecTV. So.
All right, and so we were actually just talking about this. 360 to have a huge announcement at E3. Now, I don't know what that is.
Xbox Mini with no disc drive.
They've got something big planned for 360, and it'll be happening at E3. What's it going to be?
Xbox Mini.
That's anyone's guess. Could be the Mini. Could be a new game.
And what it does is you press a button and it turns into a regular Xbox with a disc drive.
And then we just talked about this.
No, I'm just kidding.
EA makes online pass content free. We just talked about that. And here's one that Matt was really excited about. Scorpion. Next DLC character for Injustice.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to do any fatalities with them, so it is what it is. You just play Mortal Kombat if you want to be Scorpion, I guess.
Why they even put him in there?
He's going to have the same moves he has on Mortal Kombat.
We know why they put him in there. The game's made by NetherRealm. They make Mortal Kombat, so...
I thought this was kind of cheesy, too, but they're running out of superheroes, so...
Well, I guess... recognizable superheroes.
Right. DC had a very small amount of recognizable superheroes compared to Marvel.
True.
And like Marvel, I could list you about 30 of them right now.
We talked about that last show, and a lot of that's because of the X-Men, who has about 30 characters in its own.
Yeah. And they're all recognizable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This next one I was reading a lot into too.
But hold on, before we go, Scorpion's going to retail for 400 Microsoft points or free if you have the season pass.
And
this version of Scorpion was designed by Jim Lee.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of cool.
It is, but
So,
All right, so
work on Prey 2 has shifted to Arcane Studios, which did Dishonored, and they have wiped out every last bit of work on it and are starting from scratch. Point blank zero.
is that what it says?
That's I don't know if it says it in this article, but I just read that yesterday. So they have. I kind of took that at my own liberty because I already had looked into that a little bit, and yes, they have started from scratch. Which I don't know if Dishonored 2 is in the works, but that's going to make Dishonored 2 take a little bit longer, if you would, I would think. And I want Dishonored 2 to take a lot less longer.
Or if Bethesda's paid them a bunch of money, maybe they could just up the size of their studio and hire some more people.
Knock it out.
That's very true, but I heard that the game has been pushed to 2016.
Oh, wow.
What game? Dishonored 2?
No, Prey 2.
Oh.
Yeah,
Really?
because they're starting from literal scratch, and that they say an expected release window is 2016. That's an estimate. So this is
By that time, I don't even know if I'll be interested in Prey 2.
It's like 9 years after the original one came out.
yeah. Well, I trust Arcane Studios. They're good.
They're definitely good developers.
Good studio. So EA teases Grass Effect and Dead Faced mashup for E3. Yeah, I already saw that the picture. So this seems to be some kind of Plants vs Zombies thing
With Mass Effect characters.
Yeah. So,
And then possibly some other game called Dead Face with some crazy looking PopCap guy with dead space. I don't know what that's going to be either.
it's gonna be. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to check it out.
No word on exactly what it is, what platforms it's going to be on, but it's out there. So know that there's some kind of cross between Mass Effect and Plants vs Zombies coming around.
Next article.
Now we're on to the games. Killer is Dead getting a premium edition version. That's the new game from Grasshopper Manufacture. And being published by Deep Silver. It will include a bonus Beauty and the Beast and the Lingerie download, the Temptation of Miss Vampire Gigolo mission, and one extra episode and a reversible cover if you get the premium edition. Game is slated for a rough summer release for Xbox 360 and PS3. No word on any next-gen releases for that one. But, you know, Grasshopper always puts some pretty quirky, awesome games out there, so I'll definitely be checking it out. All right, Crysis 3 finally getting some DLC.
DLC pack, map pack.
The Lost Island DLC.
June 4th for $14.99 or 1,200 Microsoft.
It's going to add 4 new maps, 2 new modes, and additional weapons to the multiplayer component. Set outside of New York City, the Liberty Dome. The aim is to apparently return the series to its spiritual roots, also while mixing up the current gameplay on offer. So there you have it. And I'll let you take this one, Jayray, NCAA. This is your thing.
All it is NCAA 14's Dynasty Mode includes new power recruiting and RPG-inspired coach skills. If you played last year's Madden, they're doing the same thing. That's the easiest summary I could give you. Last year's Madden had RPG elements to it. And we know that NCAA gets the Madden stuff a year late. So that's what that is.
There it is.
NCAA comes out July 9th on 360 and PlayStation 3.
And then FIFA launching
September 24th in North America, the 27th in Europe. I will talk a lot about FIFA next week because I've been compiling loads of information from all over the net on it. It'll also be launching, it looks like, on next-gen systems on launch day, which will be probably after it launches on
regular consoles, right?
Yep.
Gotcha.
So.
All right, new Need for Speed announced for Xbox One and PS4. Of course, we all saw that coming.
No surprise.
No word on if it's going to be another Hot Pursuit or if they're taking it in a different direction, but hey, it's coming.
Frostbite 3 engine, as we all figured.
Yeah, which means it'll look great.
Yeah.
All right, Halo 4 multiplayer just got an update yesterday.
Big update, adding weapon damage and makes your character faster.
Yeah, I noticed that.
They've made all the rapid fire smaller, like assault rifle, the plasma repeater, and the carbine. You know, those type of guns now have more damage.
Yeah.
Also, the mounted weapons like the turrets, the Warhog mounted turrets. Yeah. Those do 35% more damage, and your Spartans move 10% faster now, which is pretty cool. I'm always for faster pace.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually
when it comes to shooters.
Check that out.
Yeah, me too. I'm down. All right, and real quick, Harmonix says Rock Band will return when the time is right. They actually came out today, and they're doing a game based on the Disney Fantasia movie, of all things.
Really?
Yeah, which is weird.
It is kind of weird, but it could be good.
Could be. You buy it and let us know how it turns out.
I'm surprised not Wii U.
All right, and then this was the big news of today. Fable Anniversary confirmed. Will include the lost chapters. They're doing it just like they did with the first Halo for CE. They're completely redoing the graphics, and they're doing it on Unreal Engine 3, so you know it's going to look nice. And like I said, they're including all the lost chapter episodes. It's going to have all the content that was ever released for the first Fable. Looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. Because, you know, we had Fable 2 and 3 on 360. Yeah. Now we'll be able to have all the Fables so far on 360, and that's just pretty awesome, I think. All right, and then new Deus Ex, The Fall, debuting at E3.
That's always good news.
They've been Square's been teasing it, you know, on their Twitter and whatnot, saying, "Are you ready for the fall?" Things of that nature. It's pretty much everything but confirmed, and yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be a next gen release. The last Deus Ex, Human Revolution, was great. I'll definitely be picking it up, but we'll be hearing more about that at E3. GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5 special editions. Who didn't see these coming?
Yep, they're going to have a book.
First up, the special edition comes with a steel book. You know how I love those steel books. Featuring new artwork of the game's 3 leads, a blueprint map of Los Santos, a boost to your character's in-game special ability bars, additional stunt plane challenges, as well as bonus outfits and weapons, and then also additional weapons will be available for free. The Pistol 50, the Bullpup shotgun, and the Melee hammer. The collector's edition, meanwhile, has all the special edition stuff, plus it comes with a 10x8 security deposit bag, a new era 950 snapback cap, well, with embroidered Los Santos, Rockstar, and V logos, and you'll have the ability to use classic Grand Theft Auto characters while playing Grand Theft Auto Online. Additionally, you'll get the 1930s style Hot Knife Hot Rod and the Carbon RS sports bike for use in single player, and the Chameleon electric car for use online. And lastly, anybody who pre-orders any version of the game
will pilot the atomic blimp vehicle.
Baby, you got a blimp to be piloting through the air.
Yep.
So pretty tight. All right. Moving on. Mirror's Edge 2 has appeared on the Electronic Arts site. Rumors flying around that this could be an Xbox One exclusive, at least for a while.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because the first Mirror's Edge, it didn't sell 1,000,000 copies.
But it was still a good game.
But it's
kind of a cult classic.
Yeah. Kind of like how Alan Wake was. It sold slow when it came out, but over time it gained a pretty big following. So I think if it's true and they do get that as an exclusive, then that would be big things for Xbox One.
RYSE to be re-revealed at E3. We talked about this extensively last week.
Yep.
It's going to be
Kinect, but
not a Kinect only.
Right. You got to use the controller now, and then the Kinect will go along with it. They'll be showing that off. And then the big news that came out recently was, if you look during the Xbox reveal, there was a small little icon on the dashboard for the Xbox One, which I didn't even catch when we were watching it. Here was the Crackdown icon. Yeah. So a lot of people are thinking, did they accidentally just reveal Crackdown 3?
That's not a surprise at all. That's an exclusive franchise, first party franchise that they had, and I believe it launched. No, didn't launch, but it came out shortly after the launch of 360.
The first copy of Crackdown, if you bought it, you got early access to the Halo beta.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, which is what got a lot of people to buy that game. Yep. And then people discovered, hey, it's actually a good game. So, and then they did Crackdown 2, which sold great. It didn't get bad reviews, but it didn't get the greatest reviews of all time either. But I'm guessing Crackdown 3 is going to be big things.
Dragon Age 3 listed for Xbox One on Amazon. This is, again, no surprise. We all knew it was coming for next gen. In fact, they even announced that it's been transitioned into a next gen title. Dragon Age 3 Inquisition is it? So it was announced last September, and
now
Frostbite 3.
This is the Electronic Arts 2, and since retailers are only listing it for Xbox One, there's been a lot of speculation. Has Microsoft paid some money to get this thing exclusive for a certain amount of time or whatever? We'll find out at E3.
I doubt that, but it could be. Who knows?
It could be.
That's a big franchise that would cost them a ton of money.
Well, they got a ton of money. All right, Microsoft says classic rare IPs to make return at E3. Yay. There's been a lot of rumors it's going to be Killer Instinct. Some people are thinking it could be Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah. Could be both. I mean, who knows?
About time.
We do know that Rare is working on at least 2 games, possibly 3 right now. Yeah. And Rare's a huge studio. They can do that. When 360 launched, they came out with Perfect Dark Zero and Cameo Elements of Power at the same time. Yeah. So if anybody could pull it off, Rare can.
That's true.
An image leaked out this past week. we've come to the conclusion here that it's probably a fake. The Halo 5 logo is off.
Yeah, it's a fake.
Yeah.
I pretty much.
They just came out and announced today that Halo Spartan Assault is going to be a Windows 8 game.
And they make it
for
seem
PC.
like an Xbox One.
Right,
Yeah.
and if you look at this image, you would think it was going to be an Xbox One game. I mean, and
then the BK is a Banjo-Kazooie.
Right.
So it's pretty much guaranteed to be fake.
Right. All right, and then so bada boom, bada bang. All right, so real quick, we're going to close this up. Go around real fast. Things you want to see and things you don't want to see at E3. What's the big thing you want to see at E3?
Well, of course, games, and mostly, really, it's the Rare. I want to see what Rare has in store.
Boom.
Yeah.
And what do you not want to see at E3?
Well, I don't want to see more media BS. Like I said, it should be just about the games. This time.
I pretty much agree with your don't want, and what I want to see is the price. I want to see the PS4 system, and the questions I already said that I want to see earlier in the show.
Oh, I want to see what the 360 has too. That they're talking
that
about.
huge announcement.
Yeah.
Boom. Well, there you have it. We will catch y'all next week. Probably record our episode near the end of E3, maybe like a Wednesday-ish. And we'll catch y'all then.
Peace.
Later.
Crackdown Radio.